begin the text, I will just give a short introduction to the poet, that is Mamang Dai. Now, Mamang Dai, as you know perhaps, that she is an Indian English poet, and she was actually born in the northeastern state of Arunachal Pradesh in the year 1957, and she was born in a place called Pasighat, which is in the East Siang district. And as you know that in the northeastern states there are a number of tribes or communities. So almost all the states in the northeast, ranging from Assam to Nagaland, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Tripura, Arunachal Pradesh. So you will find that there are a number of tribes, and Mamang Dai actually belongs to the Adi community of Arunachal Pradesh, ADI, Adi community. So she is tribal in that sense. Now she did her schooling from a school in Shillong, that is in Meghalaya, and she did her graduation in English literature from Guwahati University, that is, as you know, that is in Assam. Next, actually she started writing poems in her early literary career. She started with poems in certain journals called the Indian Literature and in Chandrabhaga. Now she has also worked as a journalist, and she is still working as a journalist, having left her job in the Indian Administrative Service, that is the IAS. So she was in the an IAS officer, but she wanted to pursue her journalist career as a journalist and as a writer. So she left that job, and she has traveled in various parts of India, and she contributed her articles in the Telegraph. The Telegraph, as you know, is one of the biggest English language newspapers, and another newspaper called the Sentinel. So she has been associated with these two newspapers, and she is also the current correspondent in Hindustan Times. Hindustan Times is also one of the big newspaper groups in our country. So she is now the president of the Arunachal Pradesh Union of Working Journalists, and that is in short APUWJ. Apart from that, she is also a TV journalist and a kind of presenter in All India Radio and in Doordarshan, Itanagar. Itanagar, as you know, is the capital of Arunachal Pradesh. Now, she has been associated with the World Wide Fund for Nature, that is with the preservation of nature and animals, flora and fauna. And she has received certain awards also for her book. Actually, she received quite a few awards, and she has published certain novels, fictional works, and certain non-fictional works, and a book of poems. Her almost the one book of poems that she published, that was in 2004, which was published by Writers Workshop in Kolkata, that is titled River Poems, And river poems is actually, it is a kind of a collection where she has written poems on the land and the rivers of her own state. So the river is a kind of a metaphor that is used there. Now we actually, in this particular poem, we will be reading about uh, a mountain. So actually she is writing in this poem a kind of you can say the mountain itself is expressing its views and opinions. It is a kind of an individual, it is personified in that sense. So this is one of the poems that deals with the mountain. And Mamang Dai actually, in interviews, she has talked about her connection with nature and how she really values nature, myths, folklore that is associated, those are associated with her native state. And in most of Mamang Dai's poems, you will find that hills, mountains, rivers, they are used as metaphors. And the rich culture, the rich heritage of her native state, that is being sort of, you can say, that is being showcased. And in this way, Mamang Dai has presented her, the way she has tried to present her own state. This is the kind of a poem where the native culture, the native heritage of our state is on display. So, myth and folklore, and that is combined with the description of beautiful nature, that consists of the themes of Mamang Dai's poems. So her poetic world is composed of, or it consists of, rivers, forests, mountains, and that is a reflection of her home in Arunachal Pradesh. And that is something that has to do with this kind of presentation of nature. And we talking about her, the rewards that she has received. She received the State Verrier Elwin Award for her book Arunachal Pradesh, The Hidden Land. And in 2017, she received the Sahitya Academy Award for her novel The Black Hill. So this is in short the kind of introduction to the poet and some of the themes that may be found in her poems. Now let us move on to the poem itself, and I have already given to you the poem in your group. So let us look at the poem. I'm sharing the poem with you. Hopefully you can see this poem, The Voice of the Mountain, by the Indian English poet Mamang Dai. So let us look at the title first. And obviously, from the title, one thing is very clear. That is that this is a kind of an autobiographical confession or something of in the nature of a kind of explanation or statement made by a mountain. So the mountain is an exclusive uh, part of nature, and here the mountain talks about itself. So let us read the poem. From where I sit on the high platform, I can see the fairy lights crisscrossing the big river. So, actually, this poem is divided into 9 stanzas, and it is a long poem compared to the other poems that we had read earlier. So, here you will find that the poem begins with the mountain itself talking about its kind of the panoramic view, how the mountain visualizes from a very high place, as if the head of the mountain is high up in the clouds, and it looks down onto the land and the rivers and the forests. So it is looking down from where I sit on the high platform, and it is situated on a high platform. So there is, in a sense, you can see that in the very first line of this poem, it is kind of a description about the mountain who is expressing its feeling. He or it, it's better to call it by a neuter gender. So the mountain, it is actually visualizing everything like a divine being, like God, like God. So it is saying that it is sitting there. I can see the fairy lights crisscrossing the big river. So obviously, at the foothills of this mountain, there is a very big river that is flowing, and the time is obviously evening or night, otherwise the fairy lights would not be visible. So the mountain is talking about a time at dusk or in the evening when the ferry, that is the boats, the ferries, they are plying, they are moving along the river with their lights on, and the crisscrossing kind of lights can be seen by the mountain as it sits quietly watching all the activities that are going on below. So it is watching everything silently. I know the towns, the estuary mouth. So the mountain says that it can see the fairy lights, of course. The crisscrossing, actually it is an image which creates a kind of a very beautiful kind of a design, as it were, in the evening time. And the boats which are moving on the river, which are sailing on the river, actually it also sort of gives us a kind of interconnectedness between human beings and nature. It also denotes the passage of time, how time is passing by, and how life goes on. But the mountain is there. The mountain is, it has been there from time immemorial, from very ancient times. And it has been watching how life has been passing by through generations, through centuries. So I know the towns, the estuary mouth. So the town that is there by this river, that is familiar to the mountain. So the cyclic nature of life, that is being emphasized. And the mountain is feeling like an almighty power, because it can look at the landscape, the river that is there before it, like an omniscient being. So the familiarity with the surrounding landscape, the town and the estuary, it denotes that the mountain has been there for a very long time. And it also gives us an impression of the fact that there is a kind of an understanding, of the surroundings. So that is there in this description. I know the towns, the estuary mouth. There, beyond the last bank, where the color drains from heaven, I can outline the chapters of the world. So here you can see that here there is this description of the town, the estuary, then beyond the last bank. So this particular phrase, last bank, it seems to allude to a boundary, or a kind of a boundary wall or threshold, beyond which lies some kind of a broader perspective. Now, an estuary, as you know from your reading of geography, geographically defined, it is a meeting point of land and sea, and it becomes a sort of a symbol of transition, a kind of a symbol for exploration. So here the mountain is saying, beyond the last bank, where the color drains from heaven. So when the colors are leaving the sky because of the onset of evening, so the natural landscape, the complexities of existence, and the unfolding narratives of the world, I can outline the chapters of the world. That is what has been happening for long years, for time immemorial. The mountain has been there, sitting there, observing everything. So this is the perspective, the point of view of the mountain itself. So the mountain is talking. It is talking to us, and it is narrating what it has seen through all these centuries. And the scene has remained more or less the same, and the mountain has come to a kind of a conclusion. It is narrating what it has seen. So the chapters of the world, what has unfolded before, what has happened before, that is the meaning here. So the interconnectedness between human beings and nature. Of course, the mountain is kind of an omniscient being like God. And the mountain can see the colors of the sea, how it is being, colors of the sky rather, sorry, the colors of the sky, changing colors of the sky with the changing day, how it is draining from heaven. That is, it is changing and it disappears with the coming of evening. So it is a kind of a witness to all these changes. Metaphorically speaking, the mountain is a kind of outlining how it is as if a book is being written. Different chapters are unfolding before its eyes. Just as a book has many chapters, so the mountain itself is sort of, unfolding the different pages. It is passing by. It is sort of counting the different pages of human existence, the existence of human beings in consonance with nature. So it is outlining the chapters of the world in that sense, observing the past episodes that had happened. Next, in this next stanza, you will find there is a description of an individual, a young man. The other day, a young man arrived from the village. So now the mountain talks about uh, a young man who came from the nearby village to the foothills of the mountain. Because he could not speak, he brought a gift of fish from the land of rivers. So now there was something sad about this young man, because he was dumb. He could not speak, and he could not offer his prayers to the mountain. Now the mountain, because of its old age, because of the fact that it has been there like a god, watching over civilization, watching over human civilization and nature, it has become like a god. And in the tribal culture, the different aspects of nature, they are worshipped. So the mountain is also worshipped by these tribal people, and that is why this young man, he brought a gift. And what was the gift? That was fish that he had caught from the river. So Arunachal Pradesh, as you know, the native land of the poet, is a land of rivers. And here, how the young man who is dumb is trying to placate, or he is trying to offer a kind of a gift to the mountain, in order that perhaps he is praying in his mind that the mountain would allow it to speak out. So he would no longer be a dumb person. He would be able to communicate verbally. So he is actually offering this gift of fish. It seems such acts are repeated. So the mountain says that I have been witness to different acts of this nature, that there have been other cases earlier where such people have arrived with such gifts. So this is not new to me. The fact that this young man, who could not speak out, he had brought a gift of fish to offer to me, that is not something that is new. So these acts have been repeated in the past. Actually, these have been happening. We live in territories forever ancient and new, and as we speak in changing languages. So the mountain says that uh, the fact is that people there, they live in territories which are as ancient as the mountain itself. And it is also new, because new people are coming in new habitations are being established. So that is a combination of the ancient and the new. And the language also differs. The language of this young man differs from his fellow human beings because he speaks in a non-verbal kind of a way. It is a different way of communicating. But he is nonetheless, by his offering this fish, gift of fish to the mountain, he is trying to bridge the gap between the two worlds. So the fish that he offers, it is also a part of nature. It is a part, a thing, kind of an animal or creature which lives in the rivers. So it is part of nature. And this man has caught the fish and it is offering it to the mountain in a hope of gaining back his speech. So the sustenance that is received from the river is offered to the mountain. I also leave my spear leaning by the tree and try to make a sign. So here actually this is kind of a description of how the mountain, as it were, it enters the mind of the young man here. It enters the mind of the young man, and the person, actually the young man, believes in the godlike attributes of the mountain, and it leaves its he leaves his spear by the side, leaning against a tree, and he tries to make a sign of reverence when he comes to the mountains, the foothills of the mountain. So it is a kind of a communication on the part of the young man. And leaving the spear actually, as you know, it is a weapon by using which the young man fights and perhaps he hunts. So it is a weapon of aggression. But the moment that spear is kept by the tree, we can see that the young man is making a peaceful gesture. So from this aggressive attitude, he is adopting a peaceful gesture, and he is trying to offer his gift to the mountain. So he is trying to communicate through signs. So here the poet is talking about the power of gestures, signs, that is non-verbal communication, and the importance of understanding beyond words. So I think you will remember that when you were most probably third semester students, we had arranged for you this add-on course on spoken English and personality development, and there was a module where we talked about non-verbal communication. So the importance of non-verbal communication, and this is exactly what is happening here. This person is dumb, as we see, but he is communicating in a different way. He is not talking to the mountain. He is not addressing. It is not oral communication, but it is non-verbal through signs and gestures. And the sign is the leaving the spear by the side of the tree. So it is significant in this way. So up till now, I hope you have followed and you have understood what the poet is telling us. It is generally a communication between the old mountain and the human being. So the kind of you can say that there is a sense of empathy, a kind of fellow feeling between the mountain and the human being, this young man, a kind of adaptation. So the universality of human experience, it comes in. Next, in the next stanza, we will find another aspect of this mountain. It is basically a soliloquy of the mountain and how the mountain feels and observes everything. Now, here the mountain says, I am an old man sipping the breeze that is forever young. So the mountain sort of identifies itself. The mountain identifies itself with an old man who is sipping the young breeze. Young breeze meaning the breeze of the early morning to keep his soul fresh, that is forever young. So the breeze is used as a symbol of youthfulness and vigor. So in my life I have lived many lives. So in a way the mountain says that I have been witness to many lives that have been lived near me. So I have sort of identified myself in this way. That is why it is saying, I have lived, in my life, I have lived many lives. So I have gone through the lifespan of different individuals or animals. So I have been here from the ancient times. Perhaps the mountain is 1,000 years old or even older, but it has witnessed different generations that have come and gone. So that is why it is saying, in my life I have lived many lives. And we of course understand that this denotes a kind of a profound wisdom and interconnectedness of the narrator with the natural world. So the image of the old man is of course a symbol of wisdom. He is sipping the breeze as if the mountain is like an old man which is sitting there, and it is sipping the breeze of timelessness and continuity. So the breeze is being is sort of reinvigorating the mountain as such. So it is being constantly renewed, and it is gathering past knowledge. It is gathering knowledge and experience, and it is becoming more and more wise. So there is this juxtaposition, the placing side by side of the eternal youthfulness of the breeze with the narrator's many lived lives. So the cyclical nature of existence, that is being emphasized here. So the mountain is talking about this his experiences. My voice is sea waves and mountain peaks. So my voice is sea waves. So the experience, the vast experience that it has gathered, it has become attuned to the voice of the sea waves and the mountain peaks. It is thus symbolizing a deep connection to the elements and the rhythms of nature. It is being connected with the elements of nature. So you can see that in this particular stanza, The mountain is saying that it is kind of a macrocosm of the universe. And the voice of the mountain, that is the title of the poem. Within that voice, one would be able to hear the voice of this, the unspoken words of the young man in the previous stanza, the old man who is sipping the breeze, the sound of the sea waves, and the wind that is sort of refreshing the mountain. So there are several voices. Uh, some are spoken, some are unspoken, that perhaps cannot be understood, but they are all there combining together to lend the mountain its voice. It is a combined thing, as it were. So the languages of the human beings who have lived in the villages at the foothills of this mountain, that though the language has changed, the people themselves have come into existence. They have been born, and they have lived out their lives. They have died, but the mountain is continuing. The mountain is there, like God Almighty. It is sitting pretty. It is observing everything, like the omniscient Almighty God. So here it is saying that my voice is sea waves and mountain peaks. In the transfer of symbols, I am the chance syllable that orders the world, instructed with history and miracles. So the chance syllable that orders the world. So it is as if the equated with the voice of the Creator. As you know, in the Old Testament, right at the beginning, in the book of Genesis, God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And how life started. So it is something like that, that the chance syllable that was uttered by God. Perhaps the mountain itself had uttered such a phrase. So the voice of the Creator and the voice of the mountain becomes, as it were, something that is equated, something that is similar. The mountain's ancient language, in the ancient language of the mountain, in the transfer of symbols, of course, the meaning, the symbol, the meaning that has come into being right from the ancient times, it has transformed itself. The languages have transformed themselves, and it has evolved into a single language that is the combination of all the other languages that we were talking about. So it is a combination. The history, the miracles of the land, of mankind, that is manifested, that is articulated. So I am the chance syllable that orders the world to come into being, instructed with history and miracles. So the eternal voice of the mountain, something that is there from the ancient times, that cannot be destroyed, like God's voice. So it is like this. Uh, and here, of course, the narrator kind of emphasizes the power of language and the symbols that are shaping the reality. So language is a kind of a, you can say, a medium for the transfer of knowledge, for the transfer of historical facts and miracles, that is stories, remarkable stories that have come down from ancient times, myths, miracles, folklores, such things. So all these have been reflected, they have been transformed. So the potential of the word the stories that have influenced the lives of innumerable human beings. They have lived out their lives. So that is referred to here. So the concept of the universal language, the concept of the universal language that has evolved, that is the voice of the mountain, which is a combination of the language of this sign language of the young man, the sound of the sea waves, the sound of the wind. So obviously that is the chance syllable. It is equated with the order or the divine voice that brought all creation into being. So this stanza can be interpreted in this way. So it emphasizes the ancient nature of the mountain, how it has been a witness to this. Next comes another aspect. I am the desert and the rain. So I am the desert and the rain. The speaker, that is the poet, Mamang Dai, what she does here, she makes the mountain declare that it has the power to merge the contrasting elements of nature, that is the arid vastness of the desert and the rain, and the nourishing abundance of rain. So these two elements of nature are actually highly contrasted. So this juxtaposition, there is a duality within the speaker's own being. So the harshness, the harsh nature of this arid sands of the desert, where no plants can grow, that is contrasted with the you can say the nourishing rain that comes and refreshes the plants and trees, refreshes nature. So both the harshness and the nurturing quality, those are referred to here. The wild bird that sits in the west, the wild bird that sits in the west, this is also the image of this wild bird. It evokes a sense of freedom. Bird is, of course, often they are represented, birds, they are represented as images of freedom and the untamed spirit. So that is something that can be interpreted in this way, this line. The wild bird that sits in the west, that is the how the end of the day is signified, the end of the day. So the bird has concluded its journey, as it were. So it is going to take rest now after the day's journey is over, and it is of course connected to the natural world. The past that recreates itself and particles of life that clutch and cling for thousands of years. So here the cycle of nature, time and nature, history, everything is going on. The past that recreates itself, the past occurs again. So the cyclic nature of time and history. The past is not static, but it is constantly reshaping and influencing the present. So the past that recreates itself and particles of life that clutch and cling for thousands of years. So how we can see that the reflection and the collective history, the collective myth, folklore continues to reverberate and shape the identities of the people in the present. So the life that kind of the particles of life, so the different creatures which are there, which cling on for thousands of years, they have survived. And the species, different species of birds or animals have survived. And human beings have also survived. And the mountain is a witness to all this. So it is there, it has been there for thousands of years. So it is now in the present, but it looks back to the past. And Mamang Dai sort of looks into the enduring resilience of life, how life has continued. And you can see the combination of particles that have endured over a large, a long time, and different life forms have evolved on Earth. So the kind of persistence and tenacity of existence of life itself, that is referred to here. The words clutch, cling, you can understand how when are these words used? When one hangs on strongly to something for dear life, so that then only we use these words, clutch, cling, like that. So clinging to life, as it were, clutching to life. So these life forms have endured over the passage of time. That is the meaning here. And I know these things as rocks know, burning in the sun's embrace, about clouds and sudden rain. So here the mountain says that yes, I am an entity of nature, and I am kind of a natural object that has this knowledge about everything that has occurred from the ancient times, like the ancient rocks. The rocks are burning in the sun's embrace. So the rocks that have been there under the rays of the hot sun, and the clouds that bring rain, and the sudden rain that has come down from the sky. So this has been going on for centuries, and I have been a witness to all these things. So I know it is a kind of an assertion, as you can see here. And so this is the kind of the way the voice of the mountain, it goes on and on. It is recounting all these experiences, all these happenings, occurrences, what has happened to it. It has gathered a lot of experience. So let me end our class here. The poem is a long one, and I will continue, and I will finish this poem in my next class, most probably on Monday. So we will stop sharing this, and so as we can see that here, you will please read the poem, and if you have any questions, you can ask me. And the fact is that this poem, actually, we can see the way, as I was telling you in the when I was introducing the poet to you, how Mamang Dai has been talking about the sort of way in which she gives us this interconnection between nature and man, how life goes on, and the mountain is a kind of a witness to all that it has seen, all the changes it has been a witness to. So that is the voice of the mountain. It is a kind of an omniscient, omnipresent entity, like God himself. So that is the poem, and we will of course finish this poem in our next class.